rotten cassava, I lose. If I don't take rotten cassava, where the farmer will go with 30 tons, because there is no bulk market in Nigeria at present. There is no such market in that place. So we have to compromise in between. If I need the farmer, so naturally this is another challenges we are facing during the thing. Road networks, transportation, okay. Then another challenge is we have seen, okay, IITA is developing, we are working with the IITA closely. They have developed so many seeds and all that. But distribution becomes an issue. They have developed, but it doesn't reach to the farmers. So we must find out a way so that it actually reaches to the farmers. So these are the small challenges which we are facing. So I just wanted to highlight all these things. I want Ogun State government to please look into these challenges.
Thank you very much for sharing very practical experiences, Mr. Anurag. I think that you reiterated Jite's point about the broken value chain. And when the value chain is broken, no one benefits. So thank you for highlighting all of those critical issues. Last but not the least, we have Asuko, and you have a fantastic vantage point. With IFAD, you've seen the country in its entirety, and you work with smallholder farmers, especially women, across Nigeria. What are some key best practices you've seen to address all of the challenges that both Mr. Anurag and Pastor have raised that are limiting smallholder farmers from really achieving their highest potential?
Thank you very much, Ndidi. Actually, as the International Fund for Agricultural Development, we work in different parts of the country. And the secret of success that we've seen is that really implementation differs between states. The states that are successful are the ones that there is a political will, there's commitment, there's planning, and as Dr. Yunkela said, it's all about execution, execution, execution. And that's why we think that this investor forum, Your Excellency, is so important, because it highlights the commitment of the people of Ogun. It highlights the commitment of the state government. So I think the political commitment is very much shown, and it really is a key to success of all our projects. And it's for IFAD, it's not just about talking, but we'd like to also highlight that we'd like to talk about investing. And we plan to invest 2 billion naira in Ogun State in the next 5 years for smallholder farmers and women. So, Baba Obasanjo, it won't be for renowned farmers and the world's most famous farmer. However, we will be working with the smallholder farmers in Ogun State, and it will be around the following best practices highlighted by the members here. Farmers' organizations. Training through farmers' organization is so important. If you can find one lead farmer, he will train 10 other farmers. So it's really about starting with the farmers' organizations. Linking research to extension. In this country, in Ogun State, you have an ADB system. The ADP tends to be severely underfunded, but we need to link research to extension. Number 3, access to finance. At the federal level, we talk about NIRSAL, but NIRSAL is not going to help smallholder farmers. It's microfinance. It's the microfinance banks, the financial NGOs, and the financial cooperatives. And I also saw somewhere the MD of the Bank of Agriculture, the Bank of Agriculture. These are the solutions that will take us to the promised land for access to finance for the 80% of your population, which is smallholder. With regards to land preparation, this is an incredible opportunity for young people to have equipment leasing models. We can link to the farmers' organizations equipment leasing models or service cells, whereby equipment can be used to be leased to these groups. Finally, we had an intervention by the industrialists. In Ogun State, 90% of cassava production is used for gari and fufu, the wet cassava value chain. Only 10% goes to the industrial, starch, flour, and we hope one day to glucose and ethanol. So we'd really like to see the transformation of these value chains so that we can link smallholder farmers and their production to more of these new value chains that are coming up. So we hope that with the commitment, the strong commitment of this state government in Ogun, that we can continue to develop smallholder farmers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asuka. Very succinct but very powerful interventions. Just one last question before I open it up for Q&A. And I told Dr. Yumkela I was going to come to him. I'm a co-founder of an agribusiness in Ogun State. We're in Sangota. And what we found through our work is that 90% of the processed food eaten in Nigeria is imported. So you have this broken link that Jite talked about. Farmers are working so hard to grow this food, but it's not getting on our tables. Something is happening along the chain. What can we do to ensure that we eat more of the processed food we grow in this country? What role can SMEs play in linking up to farmers so that we can process food for Nigerians and stop sending our foreign exchange abroad?
Well, first of all, I think your Minister of Agriculture, His Excellency Adishina, together with UNIDO, are already beginning to address that with these food processing zones. That's going to be crucial. That is an effort to demarcate a certain industrial area where you provide all services to encourage food processing, which allows those entrepreneurs then to link to the outgrowers. I think that's an important initiative by your government. I was in their presentation 10 days ago at the World Economic Forum, so I think that's a beginning, but that can be scaled up. I mean, one processing zone is not enough in Ogun State if you want to get closer to the producers. Second, I think some of the ideas on cooperatives is going to be crucial. Millions of smallholder farmers, fragmented, distributed around the country is a complication. How do you organize collection systems to make sure, as the ethanol producer was saying, they need on-time delivery? How do you organize farmers with the support of state and federal government to help them with the collections so that they can deliver on time? Standardization is going to be crucial. Factories, I mean, one of my work here back in 2000, 2003 with IITA, we looked at the cassava value chain. At that time, Baba used to organize those special Saturday forums on cotton cassava. I was a member of some of those panels. One of the key bottlenecks for cassava, this guy needs within 24 hours to make a decision whether he goes starch, ethanol, or flour. 24 hours. Otherwise, the cassava changes. Flash dryer was an important bottleneck in that value chain. So along the value chain and supply chain, we need to look at what are the barriers and bottlenecks. How can government policy, government intervention remove those barriers? In fact, that is my key message. Government being the facilitator of barrier removal. Food processing is complicated. Another point I'll make is sanitation and hygiene. Again, I emphasize 30 million Nigerians in Lagos by 2030 or 35 or 2040. You want to make sure that the food getting into that value chain or that supply system has the right standards and the hygiene. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems again with contamination and all kinds of problems. So government as a facilitator in removing these barriers and regulating markets better will help the food industry here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So it's now time for question and answers. Please write down your questions and pass them to the ushers. And if you've already done so, we'll take them one after the other. Direct your questions to particular members of the panel. The first question states, how will IFAD assist in establishing packaging centers for women at farm sites? And I think that's directed at you, Atuka.
Thank you, Ndidi. Actually, thank you very much for this question. As part of the 2 billion Naira fund that we would like for Ogun State, an important part of it is market infrastructure. So I think that it was roughly about 40% of the funds that we're looking at market infrastructure, and that will include aggregation, packaging, storaging, and of course, this would be targeted specifically, if possible, at women's groups. We know that women are very much engaged in production, post-harvest, and processing, so we hope that these funds can be utilized.
Okay. Second question, sustainable energy requires capital, and this is a challenge for SMEs and the low-income earners. What strategies can be employed to bridge the gap? I think this is directed at you, Dr. Yumkela, unless someone else on the panel is an energy expert. Anyone else?
Yesterday, Father Zamoja talked about decentralized distributed production centers. In the middle of all of those, you need an energy source. And so here we strongly advocate even the use of biomass.